Good morning. I'm taking a pause between my yoga and then my fitness to share a bit about what has been my 30 days of fitness routine. And I figured it might inspire someone who used to be like me as well, or is similar to me, where I had goals every year around fitness and strengthening my body. And I had a sort of like a physical trauma experience when I was younger where I fainted because I overworked my knee. And ever since then, just like when I would proceed forward on a goal with regards to my body and my strength, it would eventually something subconsciously would like happen that I would injure myself or feel pain in a part of my body or like overdo it. So then it would be too fast, too soon. So a lot of times I'd go forward and then have a setback. And this is the first month. Last month I attempted this routine, but then I overdid it with my hips and I actually like pulled a muscle and couldn't really exercise the rest of the cycle. I'm really excited to be here because I've moved through the hump where usually something happens and I'm like 4 days, 5 days out from completing 30 days of this. And I used to feel insecure, and I still sometimes do, but I've been working through the insecurities around going to a gym. And I think everyone has their own set of insecurities. And even though mine are different than others, they're still completely valid. And mine was really around feeling like I had this story in my head that I was this like weakling and it was kind of like embarrassing to see me like working out with my like small arms and my like really thin frame. And I think it just, childhood, the things you sometimes hear from your family or your siblings, they can really get to you, or the things you see other people say about other people who are, small and that are really unkind. And so I had a lot of thoughts in my head around that. Also, a gym is like a completely new space. We all have perfectionism stuff going on. So like you go in there wanting to know what you're doing, but there's no way to know what you're doing unless you do it. But because it's such unfamiliar territory, it feels like a big thing. So I totally get you if that's where you're at. And I'm totally aware that this shirt is like totally. But you know what? This is how I dress in the morning because it's comfortable. I do not want to wear a sports bra unless I'm like outside. So yeah. Anyways, so I what I did, well, first I like had my first experiences stepping into a gym when I was had a boyfriend before, and I went with him and he just kind of showed me a couple things, and I realized that every machine has a description about where it's targeting and how to use it. So it's actually pretty self-explanatory when you get in there. But then the other thing that I learned, I forget where, that really suggested you just do the very simple basics uh, of exercise. That is actually like the more boring it is, the better. And I thought that was like really helpful because it brought the pressure down of am I doing like enough? So I'm going to share with you today because I've talked about it yesterday and I'm going to be doing this routine continuously the rest of the 30 days. So I thought I'd share with you what it is that I've been doing. And it's this adorable, I like doing things where I feel really cute and wholesome. So I have this list that I wrote out. So I was like, okay, I've seen people do, they're like lower body. So I was like, okay, so let me designate each day to a different part of my body, like how people do it. And the other thing I learned last year when I first like committed to a daily fitness thing, which I did for the most part, but did struggle a bit, was that the woman that was guiding it was saying how really daily efforts is over long term more effective. And for me, and like they're also bite sized, so they're not going to be something that really like works you until you're tired. My goal is not to lose weight, it's really to build strength and stability in myself and connect with a fitness that connects me to myself. Yeah, so this has been a really great routine because it's simple and attainable and also quick in like the grand scheme of things. The other thing is I learned after trial and error that really if I were to have a goal of doing some sort of fitness specific thing at any point in the day, in the end I end up pushing it off and then I do it at the end of the night and it just doesn't work. So I have to do it in the morning. Otherwise it's just not going to happen. So what I've been doing for the past like 24 days is I wake up. I've been doing until my period, and then I'm like getting back into it now, is like I was waking up around 7 a.m. and had like a very specific time to wake up. And I would really encourage myself and motivate myself to get up right away because I used to love sleeping in bed. But like I'm slowly breaking down some of those habits that aren't supportive of me and working on building new ones, which I have the book here. I was really inspired by this book, Atomic Habits. I highly recommend. They really talk about how small habits over time. Look, this is like the first few pages changed my life. Like 1%, this says 1% better every day. So like 1% improvement every day is over the long run going to be like exponentially significant to your overall like transformation for what it is that you have in mind that you want to be, how you want to be experiencing life, your goals for yourself and ways that you want to improve yourself because it feels good, because you know it's going to feel better. And this also helped me to feel more validated that the efforts I've been putting in the last like 4 years, I really started a journey about discovering a business to, or some way of having an income that was more aligned with my desire to travel, and also aligned with my like creativity and my pace of things. All of that discovery process has like really initiated really 4 years ago when COVID started, and then I was moved from New York City back to Vermont while things were shut down and people were isolating in their apartments. I came back home to Vermont and was like, okay, I want to figure this out, because before that I had been working on a floral design business, and it was like the year that I was really going to launch it, and I was very nervous and shy to do that. I felt a lot of hesitation to like move that business forward because I had a lot of imposter syndrome. I really wasn't formally trained. I taught myself. I learned on the job, like I learned with other florists. So I had a lot of great experience, but the other thing is it's super labor intensive. It's a very high stress thing. And then also like I could make it work for travel, but the pace of it and just the pressure of it, and it just didn't feel like it really fit what I always envisioned, which was to be able to be mobile and flexible. So anyways, this Atomic Habits book reminded me that I've been putting in effort like throughout those 4 years, and it will have like a flipping point where it's all gonna come together and I'm gonna experience the results of those efforts. So anyways, back to exercise. I could talk forever. And it's funny because I don't really talk that much when I'm around people. So I did lower body, upper body, core, and then I have 1 day of cardio. So what I've really enjoyed as someone who is free-spirited, so to speak, really is less of the type of person that likes rigidity, likes logic. And so sticking to commitments has been something I've been learning, and I've really felt the change recently. And what I've been really focusing on is how can I create a setup that is really supportive to me and what it is that makes me feel free within the commitment and have flexibility, but also can be attainable, and there's no space for me to like kind of fade off. So I'm the type of person that needs to be all in or nothing, because I can't, like the middle ground doesn't always work for me. So I have very simple exercises that I just do 2 times. Like it's really minimal, but I've seen the results, and it's been 24 days. So today I'm going to be doing upper body. So I do like 10 to 12, reps or whatever. Like if it's like lifting something, 1, 2, I'll show you in a second. And then I have it written out. So chest press, skull crusher, bent over row, bent over fly, alternating bicep curls, lateral to front raise. And I found all of these exercises just by searching simple exercises for upper body or something. And there's like, I'll link all of the articles I've been referencing below. So I do a morning yoga, minimum 10 minutes. Like that's what I'm saying is if you have an intention, as long as it's done, and that's the big point. So I did a 15-minute sunrise yoga, and then this sequence actually takes me more time than maybe others, but I'm starting to pick up the speed a little bit more now. But that may take me like 30 minutes. And then after I do the exercise of the day, which I have it in a calendar, I'm becoming that person, but it's been so helpful to keep track of what each day is, because I can get lost in space. And so having like very clear guidelines has been really helpful to move things forward. So I use Notion. Okay, we're going into this. I use Notion, and it's a great app that, a workflow basically for personal or business use. So I created a calendar where I put in my calendar like the sequence, and then I'm able to reference that. So if I forget, although now I know, then I can see it. And I don't have an off day because what I'm doing is so like at the base level that I don't need an off day. Also, I got this awesome band that I recommend having, a band for when you do your lower body. And I'll show that when it's lower body day. And I got it from this cute company, Love Sweat Fitness booty bands. So during this video, I'm going to share just a couple things that I find really helpful for me to focus on while I'm doing the fitness, because a lot of what I do and what I've learned about for manifesting and in general for like well-being is to be thoughtful about what it is that you're absorbing and consuming in your environment. So, messages that are coming through from TV shows you're watching, or music you're listening to, if they're not empowering or supportive to, like a positive life experience, it's gonna, like, all of that is gonna be absorbed into your body, especially if you're doing something that interacts with your body. I'm really thoughtful of being present with myself and using it as time to be with myself and giving myself quality time. So if I see myself drifting into anxious thoughts or anything like that, I try to bring myself back to presence and also talk to my body with love and empowerment, saying things like, you're doing amazing, or look how far you've come, or like, you're so strong, or look at the progress. Like things like a positive coach would offer you, like you can do that for yourself. And then also while I'm exercising, I'm doing my best to feel the embodiment of the vibration of the energy that is the same energy of the version of me that I'm creating. So I have specific manifestations that to experience those in your reality, you have to meet that vibration of that. So it's really about, for me, feeling confidence, inner peace, and this like, I want to call it like wealthiness that's more of like a wealthiness from within and not something that's a wealthiness from the outside, because that's a brittle type of thing. What it is like an inner glow, an inner confidence that
is what's going to be more transformational, and this inner sense of like contentment, because that's what I'm going to be feeling when I have those things that I'm envisioning. So I just use the opportunity to like do my visualizations and talk positively to myself. And like notice, especially when I'm at the gym, what thoughts come up and try to spin them to something more positive and supportive and empowering.
Taking a pause in my day to share an update of like what the rest of the day is going to look like. And so as you saw, I do like a daily morning ritual, you could call it. And what I really like about it is how it sets up my day for focus and knowing that I am doing everything that is right for this moment and aligned with the frequency and the vibration of the things that I'm manifesting in my life. And it's like a sensation and an energy. And I wanted to share a couple of my favorite. So one of the things that is asked of with this daily journaling, which I've been doing for the last 25 days, is what are 3 affirmations you are choosing to embody today, which I really like. And these ones I actually, like, sometimes I feel like I'm making it up, but this one actually came out really beautifully, and I wanted to share in case it inspires you or is like the energy you want to embody today as well. And it is, so number 1 is gold is flowing within me and outside of me. 2 is my reality is transforming before my eyes. And 3 is my desires are already fulfilled. So those are just beautiful things that for me, what I notice is the most helpful about it is it brings my body into a state of peace and rest, helping me to be like, everything is already taken care of. And I already know what's the focus for today. And I actually don't have to do more than what, like, it's really just little steps that you have to take. The worrying and the like leaning forward sensation to try and grasp what it is you're creating is actually opposite of what's helpful. What's going to create that life for you, that reality that you have envisioned because the inspiration came through to you specifically, is in the embodiment and in the energy of that. And helping to ground any worries, to ground yourself, can help you to be really solid in that energy and in that like inner knowing that I've now cultivated this sensation within myself that I feel the gold within me. Like I know that there's treasure and I feel the worthiness, not even worthiness, but like I feel the value and the treasure and the gems that exist in my being. And so that's why I really like when I said an outside of me, because it's helping me to really shift the focus to start seeing how my reality is transforming before my eyes. So today, I always reference my Notion app because I have listed like what is the focus of each day. And so I chose to have themes. So like I also made the choice aligned with each day. It's like a different planet. So I think today might be Jupiter. I could be wrong. But I know Friday's a Venus day, Monday's Moon day. So like you can align your themes or focus to what feels most in flow with that energy of that planet. And I kind of did it intuitively because I don't really know too much about the planets. But today's main focus is to publish the blog post. So I have basically all of it written. I just need to edit it, add some photos, and like set it up. So that won't take too much time. But when I tuned in with my higher self, which is also part of these journaling prompts, and asked it like, what is the 3 things I can commit to manifesting or accomplishing today, like I did yesterday. Today felt a lot more relaxed, and actually it just was like about sensation of love and really coming back to love and being present with myself and my family, because both my parents are here today, and my family is coming up from Pennsylvania and Colorado and Maine. This weekend we're all going to be together. So I just have this feeling of being present to the love connection, and being present to the people around me today. And then also I felt really inspired to make this dish called matzo apple kugel, which is a Jewish dessert dish, I believe a lot of times used for Passover. And I'm not a practicing Jewish person, but I do have ancestors that are Jewish, and it felt really fitting. And then it also pieces beautifully together with this like intuitive nudge to just nurture that connection of love and care for family. And it was really cool how then I felt drawn to make this dish, because sometimes making food or buying certain foods, it's actually, you might feel inspired because your ancestors or your family that have passed on, it's a way to connect with them, and it's a way to give back and sort of to like develop that connection, and to give, love and appreciation, because on the other side in the spirit realm, they're also like, there's a relationship with you that they're having, and they can be the ones that are your guides. You never know. For me, I personally am not super clear on my guides. Like I am, but I'm not. I know some people are like, yeah, I have a name and like everything. But for me, it's more of a sensation. And the things that I've learned from others and just intuitively as well is that it's really important to follow those nudges of like doing things that feel really like self-care and like nurturing and cozy. And a lot of times it has to do with your roots and being with your connection to your family, through bloodline, through the generations past. So today's gonna be pretty quiet, and then also it's rainy and cloudy, so I knew it was gonna be like a stay home day. And that's really all I have on my list today was blog post, presence, and also I committed to, part of these daily vlogs is to bring more attention and share more about my art and my creative process, because that is one of the things that I am embodying the energy of, is a flourishing artist that has the resources to create art and to share it with others. And so I'm going to share today about this piece. And this, I've lately been painting with watercolor pencil, and regular colored pencil. Mostly because the medium is really easy to transport. So like this I made when I was in Mexico. I was in Puerto Vallarta. It's called the Bay of Banderas. And it's on the west side of Mexico. And so the other thing I really like about using watercolor is that it feels really fluid. Like there's something that feels really good in my body about that water consistency. And I really like that I can add really easily layers to this. What happens when I'm painting is that sometimes I set an intention. Sometimes I just like, actually I usually do set some sort of intention. And then I practice getting out of my own way. Instead of thinking about what's going to be next, I really just let my body move. And so like it's like something else is taking over me. And I also usually have like a connection, a moment to connect with my higher self, with like spirit guides, with something like I really ground myself into the moment. So I know that what I'm connecting with, it's like a message is coming through me and being put onto the paper. So that's why I have to take myself out of the process more, because sometimes I just put my hand on the paper and then I just feel the need to do a certain squiggle, not knowing what it's going to become until things just come together, and then I have this creation. And so what I love about this piece is that I feel it is a representation of how I felt when I was in that area. And it felt like I can really sense places in a unique way where I feel it in my body and I see it, like visions of it. So while I was there, I was seeing a lot of visions of like hearts, but like that classic picture you see where there's like the heart and the crown. You see a lot in, I think, Christian imagery, like with Jesus, but then there's also, it's mixed in with Mexican art where you see the heart and then there's space around the heart as well in the picture. So I saw a lot of imagery in my third eye of like a heart, like in a very visual, like graphic way, like a drawing, and then there's like light around it. And this place of Mexico, it's very spiritually rejuvenating for the heart, and it brings this like burst of lightness and life and color and like the feeling of feathers, you know, like bursting, and like almost like a spring, like a you know, the spring of the fountain of youth. It feels like that. It's like a fountain of just vibrancy. And then so this is the piece. On my last day there at this specific Airbnb I was at where I painted this, which was a very special place. It was a very supportive, quiet, like perfect place. And they had this book in the living room where they had all sorts of information about art all over Mexico, like artisan art and like throughout history. And I knew I wanted to check it out at some point. So the last day I was waiting for the person to come meet me to get the key. And while I was sitting there, I was looking at this book and I opened up a page and saw about information about the goddess. I think it's called Quetzalcoatl, or I forgot what it's called, but it's called the flower goddess. And I'll share a picture if I can like insert it. I'll put it here. But I'll put a link below as well. And it's specifically for this area of Mexico is what I remember, this goddess. And the colors that are represented in the picture that they have looked just like this. Like it felt so similar in the energy and the colors. And so it felt very affirming that what I was feeling and connecting with was really the essence of this place. And the goddess, this like Aztec or Mayan, when I recall information, it's not always on point. So if I have something wrong, that's why. So either Aztec or Mayan goddess that exists there, and I totally felt it. It feels like a parrot, or like, and then they also say flower, which is very true. It's like very bursting. And I felt very rejuvenated there. And I have this now on my desk here, and it's really nice to have and look at, and it's very uplifting. So yeah, this is the piece I'm sharing about today, and then I'll just keep sharing different pieces each day.
No idea if that's right.